Serious now.
We are. You better get serious because we started already. That's right. We are live again, and thanks you. It's a Thursday. What a great week.
Yeah.
I don't know how great it was, but I'm just going to say it was a great week. And actually, next week, I'm not going to be here. I'm going to actually be in New York at a speakeasy with Steve Sims putting on for a couple of days.
Good for you.
Well, I just have, I want to get more knowledge, and supposedly we're having some speakers who are going to be there who couldn't go anywhere that are amazing and normally wouldn't be able to be gotten because, and I'll let you know after the fact.
Yeah, I look forward to hear about that.
It's kind of hard to go live when you're in a conference room with somebody else.
Right. I get it.
They get weird when you do that. Anyway, let's talk about what our subject is today, which is cryptocurrency, and was that real estate you put as the title?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I wanted to discuss this because it was a class that we had, and we went over it in depth at my brokerage.
Oh, I thought maybe you went to the car thing last week.
No.
Okay.
And so
legislative day or whatever it was.
No, I did not make it to that.
That's okay.
But I thought it was really interesting because for anybody who hasn't been investing in cryptocurrencies for the last decade, is just now learning about them, and obviously everyone's saying it's gonna be the way of the future, right? So
not everybody, because according to Warren Buffett and this other guy they were talking about, and they think it's a joke.
Really?
They think, don't ever waste my money. I'll never put money in cryptocurrency, and it's a waste. So you're saying everybody. So the difference between new generation and old generation thinks it's horrible and thinks it's going to ruin us because it's going to take us off the dollar standard.
Mm-hmm.
Because other people have to buy oil in dollars, right? They transfer their currency into dollars and then buy oil. So that keeps our dollar strong. So it depends on your thought on that. But okay, for the younger people, I think they think it's the currency of the future.
Yeah. And so,
just so you know, we don't always agree, and we don't have to.
No. That'd be boring if we always agreed.
Well, don't get me wrong, I have cryptocurrency, but I'm just saying not everybody thinks it's a great thing. So.
But so we're starting to see transactions in real estate with it. And so there's an agent in my office that just recently closed one where the guy purchased the entire thing with crypto. And I thought, wow. That's incredible and crazy and something that we should discuss. So
yes, well, it depends on how it comes. And we were talking about this before the show because there are some people looking for their hard drives from the 90s and not 90s, but the 2000s when they originally bought some of it and how it was done differently back then than it is today, where you can get it through Robinhood and some of these other places, and you can now get it in your IRA and other types of retirements you can actually do in cryptocurrency if you want to. So yeah, it's becoming more mainstreamed. Go ahead and say your part. I'm sorry, I actually jumped in there. I was thinking about something else.
No. Hey, we get off topic sometimes, but so from a lender standpoint, you were talking off camera about how you'd have to see it, right? Because you're saying some of.
Are you talking about if they used it for the down payment and not bought that person did a transaction where they paid for the whole house in cryptocurrency, correct?
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, and that's happening a lot with cars and certain vehicles, or they have to exchange it into another dollar-based cryptocurrency in order to buy that kind of stuff, right? That's the difference. They're not taking Dogecoin or they're not taking some of those other ones. They're actually converting it into one that they could actually convert to dollars when the people buy it. Yeah. Because they use their cryptocurrency, it still was turned into dollars to pay the seller. Because I assume the seller didn't take cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I wasn't on that transaction.
Yeah, I guarantee you they didn't take cryptocurrency. Because today I just lost 20 grand today.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the unknown variable, right? Because I don't know. I'm just thinking about this as we're talking about it, man. What if you had $500,000 in cryptocurrency, and by the time you came to close on the transaction, it was
250.
Yeah, it had dropped 30%.
Yeah, well, cryptocurrency has dropped a lot in the last year compared to where it was of last year at this time. Most people are in half. If they didn't sell last year at the top, they have half of what they used to have.
But another reason I want to talk about this.
Not all of them, but I'm just saying in general.
True. Yeah. And, well, the people that bought it in the very beginning, they're still looking good, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, anybody bought it early on is doing real well.
So the digital dollar is something that they say they've been investigating, but, a lot of financiers I've heard talk about it say, 2 years is probably going to be a real thing, right? So, it's a digital dollar, but it's going to be a cryptocurrency, right? So we're going to start seeing more purchases with this.
Yes. once they start regulating it more, watch, because that's the one thing they're worried about. I don't care. It's like, where'd it come from? Was it drug money? Was it this? Because they're doing a lot of that where they can transfer it into cryptocurrency. Now you have it on your wallet and you can go buy things with it or your account, which is fine. But the issue we run into, if we're using it for your down payment, we still need to see it seasoned in an account for 60 days, right? That it's been in there and that you've owned it that long. We can't see a deposit of, 500,000 in cash, right? Or 100,000 in cash into this account. It's still the same requirements for us. Now, if it was transferred from your bank account into cryptocurrency and now it's in your cryptocurrency, we're fine with that as long as we can show that where it came from, the same rules apply, right? The one thing that we are seeing a lot more of is, and I'm hoping it gets more and more, which is people getting their down payment gifted to them from family members through a wedding or other things so that they can actually buy a house. Because one of the things I think we talked about before, I don't pay for my kids' weddings. I will help them buy a house.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spend, $90,000. I never spend that, but, whatever the number is. We're going to help them, get with their down payment for their house because that's long term.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, obviously that down payment's going to grow. Well, like you always say,
equity is going to grow. Yeah.
Growing wealth through home ownership. Right?
That's right. Building personal wealth through home ownership.
I almost had it there.
No, that's just my statement. And I think I told you before, I'm in the middle of writing a book on that. And it's amazing when you're writing a book, how much you have to think about things and how stories and certain things help out. And we need to talk more about different clients that we've had and how they work through certain situations. And I think that's what we need to start bringing up.
Yeah. Well, there's this, when I first got in real estate, one of the guys that did a lot of the training gave me this sheet, and it wasn't his, it was something he got from someone else, but it is 88 things can go wrong in a transaction, right? And
thanks.
Well, I was gonna say, but it was a great list for me to look at originally because I was like, oh man, that can go wrong, that can go wrong, and there's been so many creative ways with financing, especially lately, with home prices, that like you said, gift funds, things like that. There's always a way, always a workaround.
Right. And it just, we don't worry about these days that the seller is gifting money to the buyer for closing costs, right? Or not gifting, but they're paying for the closing. It doesn't really happen these days. Certain things that aren't happening right now that will eventually come back once we're in more of a balanced market, whenever that is. But right now, it's just really hard for anybody to get any of that. They're still doing it in Tuolumne County because they always find stuff, that need to be fixed. So they just pay them through closing costs and deal with it later.
Yeah. No, that's what happens, right? I mean, I know when I first got into real estate, it was worked into my my template that the seller to pay up to 3%, and that's been going for a long time.
Yeah, or hey, increase the rate so we can get more for closing costs through comp. The comp hasn't really been there, and one of the things I'm seeing right now is a lot of people want to do ARMs, right, because of where the rates are. But if the smart lenders, mortgage-backed, the holders of those securities are seeing that we're going to be going into a recession sooner than later, a lot of people are saying. Mm-hmm. So if we are giving these ARMs, they're going to refinance out of them in, end of this year into next year. So they don't really want to give them that good of a deal or all this extra rebate. And that's the same thing about rates right now, is if we give somebody, say they're getting a 4.99 and they want some money for closing costs, and we give them a 5.25 or 5.5. I'm just giving examples, not saying anything. They're the first ones that are going to be refinancing as soon as those rates drop, and servicers understand that because the cost to recoup the cost of originating a loan takes at least 6 payments to do that. And you still don't really recoup it. Nobody wants to do the loan for 6 payments. Are you following me?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
We're in the business of keeping the loan for 30 years or whatever, transferring the servicing, all that kind of stuff throughout the process. But we want to keep that loan to make the interest. That's the whole purpose they do that. So right now, a lot of the people have those low interest rates. Those are killing banks right now and people because that's hardly any interest. Yeah.
Yeah. You think about it over the life of a loan, it'd probably be a good show for us to do like amortization scale. Just so you can show.
Do you want me to scare everybody so they don't buy a house? Is that what you're saying?
You can do.
By the way, if you pay on a 30-year loan, you're going to pay double for your house. Is that what you want me to tell everybody?
Well, it's good for people to know. They got to be educated, right?
Well, it's the most important thing is if you can make an extra payment a year, you take it down to like a 20-year loan and you take off hundreds of thousands of dollars of interest depending on the size of the loan. And that's the easy way to do it, where you take a 12th of the payment and divide it, your payment by 12 and make that little extra portion towards principal every month. It's the same thing, and you'll pay that house off a lot sooner.
That sounds like our next show.
All right. Well, I just said it, so I don't know if it needs to be a whole show on it.
Oh, come on. We can go to depth.
All right. We'll do that. All right, everybody. Anything else you want to add today, Bobby?
No, that's it. Just, cryptocurrency real estate is going to be something we're seeing more and more. So we'll keep you updated.
What about NFTs? You're going to see people using their NFTs to buy real estate?
I'm not too sure. I don't even know if people know what NFTs are.
Well, I mean, I heard the same place that were like NFTs. I think they're going to bust by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Like it's a quick cycle and nobody really wants them.
Yeah, so someone made it to pump it and then dump it.
Well, yeah, just they're like, this is like a one of those things that's just going to go away, like .com.
The new hot thing, and then everyone's over it.
I don't know. I'm not any NFTs going forward right now, so yeah, I'm behind the game.
Yeah.
Who'd want to buy this mug as an NFT anyway? All right, everybody have a great day.